Good afternoon, everyone. It is Sunday, September 12th, and we have some, of course, there's a lot of dramatic stuff going on the weather map today. We're right now in the peak part of the hurricane season, officially September 10th. It's also the mid part of the hurricane season, so today's September 12th. So Friday was that mid part of the hurricane season. We have a tropical storm which developed earlier this morning. That tropical storm is expected to make landfall sometime tomorrow night into Tuesday morning, actually. You know, I'm going to stop that applaud over there because it's really going to be pretty intense, actually. We're going to have 8 to 12 inches of rain for the Houston area and only 1 to 2 inches for New Orleans, Louisiana. It's not expected to become a hurricane. There is maybe a chance that it will, but it's not expected to remain over the Gulf of Mexico long enough to become a hurricane. It is going to be moving slowly, and that's part of the reason why there's going to be 8 to 12 inches of rain. Currently, the maximum sustained winds are 40 miles per hour. We have another system that's actually a hurricane going all the way up north into the coast of Newfoundland, I believe. And that's a Category 1 hurricane, a very large storm, You know, the stronger the storm, the smaller it is. So this hurricane's only a Category 1. That's why the thing is so large. You know, temperatures in the water have to be 78-degree water temperatures or higher to produce tropical systems. This system is moving into water, which has a temperature of 63 degrees, but it's going to maintain its hurricane strength for a little bit before it finally is going to be weakening. Certainly going to be plenty of thunderstorms within that system, without a doubt. And then as we head over to the desert Southwest, this is a heat dome, but the desert Southwest heat dome is bringing unseasonably hot air because the heat dome extends all the way through the Midwest, going off to the mid-Atlantic area. Record highs are going to be broken tomorrow, probably in the mid-Atlantic area on Monday. Record highs might be broken today in the desert Southwest. Excessive heat warnings are in effect for much of the desert Southwest. There's also not only super intense heat, there's also high humidity being reported. Now, that humidity is going to go way down for about an hour in the afternoon, and that's when those temperatures are going to really shoot up, hitting 111 in Yuma, Arizona, 108 for Phoenix, Arizona, and then you get to San Diego. They're issuing heat advisories for all over the place. So, you know, you would think it's San Diego as well, but when you actually go and check out San Diego, it's a little town. It's just amazing. High of 81 degrees. It just gets untouched with any type of hazards. It just somehow always remains just absolutely beautiful weather over there. It's kind of funny. I think it's a little bit funny. Then you go into Los Angeles. Los Angeles, even they're getting heat highs in the low 90s. You know, the National Weather Service for San Diego is issuing heat advisories because peak temperatures are expected to be between 85 and 95 degrees. So these are certainly places which don't even hit 85 degrees that much. 85 degrees is not really any type of a threshold here in America, but 30 degrees Celsius is some type of a threshold in the world, and that's something, and that's 86 degrees Fahrenheit. But I guess we don't say 86 here because we like to round up to the fives, or maybe there's actually some type of study which backs up the 85 degree mark as being heat, or maybe really 85 is the most accurate, and that also would be estimated to be about 30 degrees Celsius. Number of possibilities for that. Cooler weather in the Pacific Northwest. We have a number of cold fronts coming out of Canada, and that's affecting the northern plains and the Pacific Northwest. But the plains, the Midwest, just brutal heat, mamish midsummer heat, highs in the mid-90s for St. Louis, Missouri. Dew points, by the way, back in the desert Southwest, Yuma, Arizona this morning, 69 degrees. Phoenix, Arizona, 67 degrees. It's already dropped to 54 degrees. But, you know, nothing nothing compares to the following forecast, which I want to read to you from Stanley, Idaho. Let's go ahead and pull it up. I hope this thing doesn't shut off because this is all being done on the same thingamajig. Okay, it's still recording for now. Let's pull it up here. And we're going to get to Stanley, Idaho. Okay, wonderful. It's still recording. Here we go. There's one issue. All right, here we go for Stanley, Idaho. Okay. Because I'm reading this, I will not be able to do any sound effects here. You know what? Let's just memorize it, and then we're going to do the sound effects here. And then, hi, did-a-die, did-a-die, diddy-die, 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 diddy-die. Wow. Okay, let's... Okay, just pretend like there's sound effects here because I want to get through this. Today we're going to have sunny skies in Stanley, Idaho. High temperature 75 degrees. Now we do need a drum roll for tonight when you hear the overnight low, but we don't have a drum roll. But just pretend like there is one. Overnight low tonight, so 75. So 75, let's say for a city like Chicago, it would drop down to 55 here. Maybe 50 in the suburbs, 60 in the city, something like that. And then if you go further out west, maybe to a place like Scotts Bluff, Nebraska, or Denver, Colorado, 75 maybe would drop down to 45 degrees. That's certainly a possibility. 45 degrees, that's about it. You know, that's going to be a 30-degree drop is pretty much as high as it gets. Once in a while, Rio Grande Village, Texas, can get a 40-degree drop. The high would be about 105 and the overnight low 65. Stanley, Idaho, is it going to be 40-degree drop? What's it going to be? Overnight low 26 degrees. Tomorrow sunny skies back into the low 70s, 72. Tomorrow night 23 degrees. Tuesday, mid-70s. Tuesday night, mid-20s. Wednesday, 73. Wednesday night, 21 degrees. So Thursday morning, it's going to be 21 degrees, and it's going to be 70 by the afternoon. Thursday night, low in the mid-20s. I'm getting to something over here. Friday, a high in the low 70s. Friday night, a low near 27 degrees. So Shabbos morning, we're starting off at 27 degrees. But the high temperature is going to make it into the low 60s. Now, why is it going to be 10 degrees cooler on Shabbos? Well, I'll tell you why. There's two reasons. And by the way, the forecast ends there. That's it. Shabbos, highs in the low 60s. Now, highs in the low 70s all week, mid-70s, low 70s. Shabbos, it's 10 degrees cooler. It's still a phenomenal 43-degree temperature rise because it's going to be 27 Shabbos morning, afternoon high 62 degrees. Now, we see the rest of the days, the sun is out. On Shabbos, it's going to be cloudy. But you know why it's only going to be in the low 60s? Because there's a chance of precipitation Shabbos. The chance of precipitation is 40%, meaning there will be areas that will be seeing precipitation. Now, what type of precipitation? Rain or snow showers. Rain and snow showers. Both of them. So, highs in the low 60s. Here's the question. Question is, could it really snow when it's in the low 60s? I'm going to go ahead and say it actually can't. Okay? But here's the thing. if the air is very dry, then you have a lot of evaporative cooling. It has happened that we have seen snow in this country in Florida when it was 53 degrees. So low 50s is certainly a possibility. Upper 40s with snow, that's a possibility. Maybe it'll be upper 40s, low 50s with snow. And then when temperatures rise into the mid 50s to low 60s, maybe that will turn to rain. That's all a possibility. So notice this week there's going to be snow. 70s all week, highs low 60s Shabbos, but temperatures below 32 every single night, solidly below 32. Think about it. Think about waking up Shabbos morning, 27 degrees. What if it's snowing? You have the streets are snow covered. Then Shabbos afternoon, it's in the low 60s. I mean, it's kind of like, do you salt this, waste all that money on salt? Do you not? That's something that a person would have to think about. Let me go back to the app over here. All right, so that's the deal with Stanley, Idaho. Quite a forecast over there, and that's when you have snow. But we have seen more magnificent stuff than just that. But in any case, high temperatures today. Here in Chicago, highs in the mid-80s. I do want to tell you there is one computer model forecasting a high of 90 degrees here in Chicago. The National Weather Service said that if it wasn't for yesterday's smoke, it would be 90 today here in Chicago. Anyways, the next day where it might hit 90 is Tuesday. There's a computer model which is forecasting 90 on Shabbos, this upcoming Shabbos. Now, we're not poskening like that computer model. We posken differently, okay? We're not going like that computer model. High temperatures tomorrow likely in the upper 80s, and on Shabbos probably upper 80s. The days in between are going to be cooler, upper 70s to low 80s for all those days in between. But the Thursday, Friday, we're going to see gradual warming trend, like low 80s Thursday, mid 80s Friday, upper 80s on Shabbos. Or maybe the version will go near 80 Thursday, low 80s Friday, mid 80s Shabbos, something like that. And I think Wednesday will be significantly cooler, probably upper 70s, I would think, because that's the day right after the cold front's going to move through. There's one other thing I want to point out in regards to the Chicago weather, and that is that the Chicago area is under a Category 1 risk for severe weather Tuesday afternoon and evening, and Tuesday night. There's a cold front coming through, pretty significant cold front, and there's between a 5 to 15% chance for large hail or damaging winds within a 25-mile radius from wherever you stand, and I believe that includes South Bend, Indiana. We see temperatures on the map today, again, are in the 90s over a large part of this country. Highs near 90 for Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, Maryland, and in the mid-90s in St. Louis. We have higher dew point area as well, and even in the Arizona area, and we have those tropical storms really affecting more in Canada, but also moving on to the Texas, moving inland by tomorrow night into Tuesday morning. That's the deal for this country. I want to point out another thing, however. The hurricane that's moving into Canada, actually, on the back side, the precipitation will be falling as snow, and obviously heavy snow with strong winds. It's going to be in the mountain areas. We also have a powerhouse typhoon, a hurricane, moving into Taiwan. And there's upsloping, so areas in the higher elevations are going to get really hit really hard. But even that's especially because of upsloping. But even downslope, so downslope it's supposed to be sunny and hot. But even downslope, so they're not going to get the 20 inches of rain. Maybe they'll just see 3 to 4 inches of rain. So instead of it, you're still going to see a dramatic change, but you're still going to get heavy rain even on the other side. This storm system is hurricane or typhoon. It was a super typhoon. I think it's down to a Category 3 hurricane at 104 miles per hour. But the sustained winds are expected to increase dramatically and go well past 130 miles per hour, giving it a Category 4 status once again. And there's plenty of potential all over the place for tropical storm development. Plenty to speak about for the upcoming weeks. There's something developing off the coast of Africa, which has a lot of potential, and it will head into our area. What else is there to say? There's always plenty to say, but let's leave off with that. I'm going to think about if there's any one last thing to throw in. And I will. I do want to reiterate one thing, that this past summer was the hottest summer on record for the United States. Temperature averaged 74 degrees. Okay, but this is very important, actually. If you're this summer was okay, it was the hottest summer on record, but not really. It really, that's what everyone says. But really, the summer of 1936 also averaged 74 degrees. But to be exact, I think it averaged 73.998 degrees. It was 0.02 off. I think that's what it was. Maybe it was 0.2. 0.2, so then it was 73.8. But I think it was really 73.998. I think that's what it was. So it's almost like all you had to do is put a thermometer next to someone who was taking a bubble bath, a hot bubble bath, and throw that temperature in there just to get the headlines of 74 degrees. You have the Dust Bowl year 1936. That's without the heat urban island effect. If you're going to use this data for climate change, global warming, you can't do it. You can't. That's for sure. You can't say in regards to that this summer was hotter than 1936. This summer has to be much hotter than 1936 because the population of these cities, the concrete of these cities has increased tremendous since 1936. And therefore, the temperature should be much higher. Right now, to say 0.2, that's, yeah, sure. It was, maybe you could say officially it was hotter, but that's not enough. That's not a climate change variable. That's a heat urban island effect, and it's not even that. It's 1936 in a certain way remains. It probably remains the hottest summer, in my opinion. You'd have to look to see how exactly they took these temperatures and stuff like that. I know there was one day where it was 131 thermometer said 135 in Death Valley, California. The National Weather Service decided that it was 129 degrees. Maybe they were right. But in the Pacific Northwest, of course, had a major role in this. Anyways, I wish everybody a wonderful day. Have a great week. And you can get more of a detailed forecast if you call up your local weather line. Take care.